All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to September's caucus meeting. Excited to start out and welcome two student presentations this evening, which is a great way to really start the school year. So our first presentation is, I'd like to introduce the Susquenita Mountain Bike Club. And they've done an incredible presentation for us this evening. They've done an incredible job of building some trails, and they want to share what those look like and all the work that they do and how they also are so connected to the community. So guys, if you want to introduce yourselves, and we'll go ahead and get started with your presentation. Thank you very much for being here. Let's give them a round of applause as they get started.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Braden Hostetter. I'm accompanied by John Goodling and Garrett Lingle. Tonight, we'll be talking about mountain biking at Susquenita and the possibility of trail development at the school. Okay, so to get started, we started this club in 2021. It accompanies everybody from 6th to 12th grade, both boys and girls. We compete in the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Cycling League, which is 78 club teams and 150 plus schools from around the state. Our athletes also help to maintain everything that goes into mountain biking, from trails to bikes, everything that is involved in that. So I'm going to pass the mic on to John here.
Okay, so basically, as far as how the team functions, for leadership and safety, we have a head coach and team director. They oversee the team. They're supported by trained assistant coaches and team captains. We all practice and follow the NICA safety protocols and regulations. As far as inclusivity, like Braden said, everyone's welcome from 6th to 12th grade, boys and girls, no matter what the skill level, what they want to do, if they want to compete, if they want to just ride their bikes, if they want to make some friends. They can, there's a place for everyone in this team, and everyone's welcome. We have regular practices 2 to 4 times a week, focusing on basically just practicing our skills, getting time on the bike, and preparing for races that are optional. There's just such a positive environment within the team. Everybody always encourages everyone else, even if they don't know, who they are very well, or even if you're at a race, you'll have people that you don't even know cheering for you. It's just such a positive community. The riders are always encouraged to, contribute to the team trails and demonstrate good sportsmanship and be a part of that mountain biking community.
All right, so next up is our team and league values. So those points of interest are fun, respect, inclusivity, community, and equity. I know as an 8th grader joining mountain biking for my first year, I, like at every race and during our practices, I have seen every single one of those points. And as John mentioned, we get people, whether they're your friends, your family, your coaches, they're there cheering you on, ringing a cowbell for you. And even you'll get once in a while, or actually throughout the whole race and at the start, you'll get random people who you've never met before cheering for you. Everybody's there to lift you up and keep you looking ahead on the trail. So next up is our future possible plans. So I'm going to start off on the map to the right. So looking at our topography here behind the school, you'll see the solid red line around the border is the school's boundary lines. The dotted red line is the cross-country course, the upper cross-country course, actually. And then, so we're going to start right behind the school. That's our green trails. Those are for some beginners. It's also known as Easy Trail. We like to call that the vanilla ice cream of the trail system. It's smooth, simple. Everybody enjoys it, and it's one of the flattest trails that you can find on a mountain bike course. And then we're going to move up the hill to the blue trails. Those are for intermediate riders. as we used vanilla ice cream for the green trails. You're going to add some different tastes and chocolate chips into mint chocolate chip ice cream for the blue trails. Going to give you a little bit more of a bumpy ride, a little steeper incline, but it's made for whoever would love to ride that. And then once we get above the blue trails, we get to our black trails. Those are for experts. We also like to call that our Rocky Road ice cream of mountain biking. So in Rocky Road, you get a ton of flavors, different chunks and obstacles to get around. It's the steepest of the 3 levels, and it's more made for who is capable of riding those trails.
So I'm going to talk about trail signage now. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with skiing, but it's very similar with mountain biking. Green is for everybody. It's easy, very simple. Blue is intermediate, and black is more advanced. As you can see on the right there, this is some examples of signs in local trail systems. This is important for safety of both riders and for emergency personnel to be able to find people if there is emergencies on the trails. The signs kind of help you lead your way around the trail system. And as you can see in the right-hand side, there's a kiosk down below. This is something that we would like to add to these trails. It kind of helps you talk about important safety info of biking, and it gives you an overall map so you can kind of plan out a route that you would like to take and for the day, and then see what trails you would love to ride. Trail maintenance. Us as a team, we would be the ones maintaining the trails behind the school. Our team has put in over 320 hours of trail work this year alone to maintain 14 miles of trails at the Osterling farm. So we would definitely be able to maintain the trails behind the school. We also won Teen Trail Corps weekend, so we were the top serving team in Pennsylvania.
Okay, so obviously trail safety is pretty important when it comes to mountain biking trails. So we will have level 2 and 3 coaches that have CPR and first aid training. We're going to develop an emergency response plan, which will have access points illustrated so that the local EMS can provide safety to anyone if they should get an injury. We'll have proper signage and mapping all around so that everyone will know where they're going beforehand so that they don't get into something that would be too much for them to handle and prevent injuries, but then also so that we know how to get to them, and the EMS does if they get injured, to help them if they do.
So benefits. Mountain biking is beneficial for your health. It promotes both physical and mental health because you get to spend time in the outdoors, and you obviously are getting more physically fit. Education. You can learn about trail building by being a part of the team, and you learn about how to conserve the outdoors. Community. It brings people together and families together. It gives them a place to meet and a place to have fun. The environment aspect of this teaches stewardship and sustainability of our environment. And impact, it builds lifelong healthy habits and school pride. I was at a race last weekend, and there was a 60-plus category, and there was probably like 20, 25 adults racing in that still, even though they're like 60 years old. It's kind of hard to believe, but they are still going after it.
All right, so next, this is on the right. It's a trail system that is in Neshaminy High School. That's out towards Philadelphia area. We also have another set of trails in North Allegheny. So that's just to show that, there's trail systems all throughout the state, from one corner to the next. So these are some trails that are actually very local to us. We have local dirt races at them. yearly. The top one's the Redland High School. And these are also open to the community as well to ride. So not only the team is able to use it, but also the community.
Come cheer us on September 17th at the Osterling Farm in Marysville at 6 p.m. October 4th is a central regional race at the Osterling Farm from 9 to 2. That's in Marysville, very close. And then October 11th and 12th is the state championship in Hershey from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Middle schoolers will race on the 11th, and high schoolers will race on the 12th. Thank you.
Great job. Oh, go ahead.
Is there any questions anybody would like to ask?
No, very good job, and it's nice that you're communicating all this to people so they can learn more about it. So, very good. Keep up the good work.
How many participants do you have between 6th and 12th grade?
I believe it's about 25 to 30 participants
Good.
for our team.
Right. Thank you.
So the impact, so it goes over in the same area as our cross-country trails. You showed Redland. There's also overlaps with their cross-country trails. I know Hershey, also behind the hospital. There's impacts like with their walking hikers. What type of impact with these dual use have you seen? Can you give an explanation of that, for that impact? Is it high, low, when you have bikers and hikers out there at the same time?
I think it's something that we've all encountered as a biker. We're very respectable to hikers. We understand that it's also their trail, so whenever we encounter hikers out on trails, we slow down, sometimes even stop, and we let them pass us instead of just flying by them and being disrespectful, because at the same time, it is their trail system too. Like, we are sharing trails. Even though we might have built them, they're still out there enjoying the great outdoors like we are as well.
I have a quick question. When you have these meets, is it more individual, or is it kind of like resembles track and field as a team that you guys go to state championships, or is it individual per race? How's that work?
So it is individual in the aspect of kind of like track and field, like you're placing yourself. But at the end of the year, there is team standings and stuff. It's probably not as prominent as it would be in track and field, but it's definitely something that does get looked at.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
I just want to say how impressed I am with the whole presentation, the three of you, your posture, the way you speak, very, very well done. And the little bit I do know about your mountain biking organization is what I have experienced is it's inclusive. You include, I've seen students participate in your mountain biking that would perhaps not be welcome, or maybe a little bit on the nerdy side, or maybe not athletic enough or whatever. It feels like it takes in all of our students, and you welcome all students. And students I've known have found a place on the mountain biking team, which is phenomenal. So
Yes, very much so. It's kind of like you just show up and you have fun. I mean, there's no real pressure. You just kind of get to ride your bike and enjoy the times.
And certainly good luck on the 17th on your first, second race.
And for the record, you don't have to endure the entire meeting if you don't want to. We will not be offended.
All right, hi guys. We're here tonight to talk with you guys a little bit about a new course that was started last year. Kind of the direction that we're headed with this. We're kind of excited about it. The kids want to talk with you guys about that, specifically some of the things that they're already working on 9 days into the school year, and a little bit about this new tech team and tech credit. I'm going to start briefly, and then It looks like we have a lot to say. We do, but it'll be quick, I promise. All right, so one thing I wanted to say actually, though, real quick, is this new logo was designed by Caden Brandt for our tech team. And we're actually in partnership. She's actually not here tonight, but she's accepting her last 4-H, I think, check and stuff like that, so that's awesome. But anyways, this logo was designed by Caden, and it's something we're working on to maybe put together like a clothing order for the kids on the tech team, and even, I think, tech staff in the building. So I just wanted to give her a shout out because she's not here tonight. I'm going to just talk about the first two things. I'm going to turn it over to them. So real quick, here's how this started. Obviously, with the one-to-one iPads, there is a lot of tech at this school. There's a lot of tech in this district, and we're proud of that, right? You know, the Apple Distinguished Recognition across all districts and things like that have been really cool to see. But we're also a small district, and we try to be fiscal about, you know, responsibilities and things like that, so there's a lot of work to do. This program came as a way to kind of tackle two birds with one stone, to give these kids who enjoy tech the opportunity, but to also help the tech staff be able to tackle things and to be able to be more accessible. So this idea was actually pitched last year by a couple of us. Miss Lote and myself, we were working with a lot of different technology responsibilities, and we were having kids help us here and there where they could anyways. And so Miss Lote actually kind of jumped in on this and was looking for a way to kind of create a program. We were partnered up last year at Lifted with a team that has a tech program like what we're starting from Beaver Area School District near Pittsburgh. And they've been inspirational for us. We've worked with them. They were at Lifted with us. A few of you guys went out and mini golf the night before, Lifted with them and stuff like that. So it was a really cool connection. But we saw a need for this, and we saw them excel just last spring, and it was exciting. So last year they helped us plan and organize the Lifted conference. They'll talk more about that. So as this was happening, Ms. Lowe proposed the idea of the work that these students are doing is enough to earn a credit. And you'll hear about some of the roles that they're taking on. And this was put into the course catalog. You guys approved that course catalog. And so this is kind of the fruits of that. So we're excited about it. Again, like I said, this summer we met with this team, and the team has been inspirational. We've already been connecting with them. I didn't tell you this, but they actually want us to present at Pete and C with them, which is a state conference in February. So we're excited. Jump forward to this year. Basically what we've done is we have moved along. This year we've got two different courses. The media course has always been there, and there is some bridging between the two, but the tech support course is the new one. It is a 1-credit course, and it's offered for high school students. The schedule throughout all periods of the day, which is interesting. These kids are being given a lot of responsibility. They'll talk about where they do this work at, but I'm in charge of all of them, but it might be like how many. Some of you have it second period, but I teach class second period. So Gary and 3 others know their jobs, they know their workflow. We're learning the workflow. And basically they're working in this tech room while I'm teaching class, and we've got them scheduled throughout the day in different periods so that it's accessible. It's designed for students to be able to collaborate with admin, with the teachers, and with other students, and they'll talk about how they're doing that. And basically, here's the deal. I'm gonna let them chat with you guys about what these categories, the things that they're going to be tackling this year, and some of the things they've already jumped into to start tackling this year. So we'll start with the first one. I think Bray McKee, right? So Bray McKee's a junior, and she's going to talk about our teacher professional development.
Yeah, so we're going to begin with our teacher professional development department. One thing we started last year was lunch and learns. So that's where we help the teachers learn apps and technology they can incorporate into their classes, just to give them more opportunities, change things up a little bit. So what we do is they'll all come in into the library during their lunch period. They bring lunch. We have a lunch, hence the lunch and learn. Yeah, so we just sit down with them. We go through the app, different features of it, how they could, use it. So this year we have a new system called the Smart Pass, which is how we get to the bathroom, to the library, wherever you want to go throughout the school. And we know a lot of teachers have been struggling with that. And so we're planning one for the end of this month. And that'll be our first lunch and learn, where we help them use that. We also present at faculty meetings, so it's kind of the same idea. If
We're going to attempt to use our second faculty meeting.
Yeah.
We can to work with teachers on that, small groups.
Yep. Leading interactive technology challenges, so new things we want them to try throughout the school, and we can kind of go in, see how they're doing. And And that also kind of goes along, like we can help them. We can say, hey, like you guys are doing a great job with this. Like how is this working for you kind of thing. And providing one-on-ones. So they can put in like a request or a ticket and they can like ask us, hey, can you come help us with this we're having problems with, or my one student's struggling with getting into their power school. So we will go up and we will help them with that. And then supporting the teachers and the classrooms in general. So just anything they're having problems with, we'll go and check it out for them. So.
And one other thing that they're working in with that too is they're going to be doing, like, if teachers want to like use a new app and they're nervous about using it with their class, they can request to that help desk one of these students or two of these students, depending on the period, to go in and help them with the tech features of it, so they can focus on the teaching, not be restrained by, is this going to work? What's going to happen with this? So that's also part of that teacher PD. All right, our next one is going to be graphic design, which is a blend with media. I'm going to have Haley Pop talk about that. She takes media, but she also does tech, but she's going to talk about some of that.
So one of the big things we do is like step-by-step video tutorials on things that they might be having troubles with. For instance, Power School. A lot of people had trouble logging back into their Power School, so we can create videos on how to do that. Sharing quick tech tips with staff and students also goes along with that. Designing and managing scoreboard graphics. We got a new scoreboard this year, and so me and a bunch of other kids have worked on creating these student or player cards. So it has your name, your number, your position, and a photo of you, which I'll also be creating ones for senior night and homecoming. And also just creating helping teachers. Okay. And supporting teachers with classroom graphics if they ever need anything or anything like that.
Okay, so with broken iPads and new setup, we came into school, a couple iPads weren't working or they were damaged. So we collect and log those damaged iPads, and we fill out digital incident reports on Incident IQ. And whenever those reports are put into place, we can contact Apple to arrange repairs. And those repairs actually are really important because obviously we need the iPads to be functional. So they send us boxes to package and send them the iPads to be repaired. And sometimes they come back, sometimes they come back.
Okay, so for help desk tickets, we help manage and respond to help desk tickets from teachers and students. So if they have a problem, we can help solve that for them. And we organize the tech support process. So
Just the things that we're talking about, kind of some of those different things. You're good.
yeah, okay. We ensure tech room coverage throughout the day. So as he said earlier, there's people throughout all the periods that can help at any point of the day. And then with setting up and troubleshooting Apple TVs, we will learn how to help teachers out with their TVs if they're having problems. And then we can support teachers with their instructional media devices if they need help and submit a ticket.
And Peyton, I did want to say, they're going to talk about it in a second, but there is a designated space we're using now for this. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But there are students there almost all periods of the day. There's a couple that we just with schedules yet. We don't have that, but they are there. I had Peyton talk about it because Peyton's in there a lot when kids are coming in and needing that help. So she's working with kids when they show up, or they're being assigned to go and do these help desk tickets.
All right, well, as many of you guys know, we hosted our second Lifted conference this past year in June 10th, 2025. I'd say it was a pretty big success this year. Lots of people from all over the state came. Really great event. And with that event, planning it, we designed and updated our conference website, which was used by all the participants, yeah. And they got to use that and just kind of see what they were getting themselves into for that day and what would be happening. Along with that, we also created professional signage and displays that were all around the school, just kind of showing them where they would be going, what that room would entail that they're going into, and also we had name tags made for each participant. We also built and coordinated conference schedules for each person so they could kind of see what would be going on in each room, like during each block of the day, and what might interest them with what they would need at their school or wherever they're coming from, and what could help them with what they need. We also presented student work, and in our tech room, actually, we presented, I know we did voter registration night. We had presentations from students on journalism and the newspaper, and from our physics department, they did a seatbelt safety challenge, and they presented that just to all the participants who came in the room and wanted to look. And it was just kind of like a one-on-one thing. Like they could go up to the students and just ask them, like, oh, hey, what's this? And then the students would just show them their presentation about it. And I think that was a really beneficial part of the conference. And yeah, it was a really good time.
And the plan is for them to tackle those maybe even more this year too. So.
Okay, so our brand new tech room is really important because recently in the past, because I know this, media has been scattered. It's been in the library. It's been in the library's conference room, just wherever we can find a place to work. And then with tech team, it kind of depends on where they were working at the time, because sometimes they would have to go down to the health room for Miss Lowe. They would have to go to room 105. They would have to sit in the library. It was just like all over the place. So now we have identified that need, which granted us the usage of the old magazine room. Thank you to Mr. Funk and Miss Davis. And we had a couple students last year repurpose it. Like it was like the old magazine room, so there was magazines everywhere. So we partnered with Flux Space last year to design and furnish the room for Lifted. And right now we're using the existing furniture from within the building, the library, to complete the setup right now.
Okay, so on the last slide, you saw pictures of our brand new tech room. We also use it for media, and the kind of point of this today is we would respectfully ask the board to consider supporting a proposal for us to get some flexible seating in this room. And we would hope that this change would make the room more inviting and welcoming for us, and just increase our productivity while we're in there. It will encourage collaboration and teamwork among peers, provide a balanced space for both focused study and creative projects, and offer a comfortable environment for students to learn and access tech support. It's already been incredible to have this room to work in. It's very nice. Like this week, for example, we all went in, we're like, okay, we're gonna work on the presentation, and we can just work on it. We have technology in there, and there's no distractions. So we want to make it as best as we can. So thank you.
Thanks, guys. One more shout out. That room was cleaned out at the very end, and our maintenance here flipped that, did literally like a flip of that room in, Scott, what was it, less than a week. They had that room, the floor stripped, they had paint, they had like drywall repairs. So we do appreciate that too. Any questions?
I love the room. I noticed it tonight. I was like, oh my gosh, like whoever re-envisioned that room, I think it's perfect. It's right beside the studio, all of that, it's great. So explain flexible seating to me. Chairs that move around better, or bend?
Yeah, actually this past May, was it, we took a trip to the Flux Space space in Middletown. And it was really cool. They had all sorts of seating there. There was like squishy cushions on the ground that you could sit on. There was also chairs that you could sit on normally, or you could sit on like a stool almost. It was really fun. And we all just kind of took some time to work on some of our projects for Lifted while sitting in these flexible seating arrangements. And I think it actually did really increase our productivity just because it was a lot more fun and we could just kind of move around while we worked. And there was just lots of colors, but not like too overwhelming where it was overstimulating. And it was just really fun. Like a lot of them had wheels, so that we could kind of move around while we work and make it accessible to wheel over to other people and collaborate and just do stuff like that. And it was really helpful.
I think it just as part of that space, right, and that collaborative factor, the district's been good, and we have certainly worked with, the bigger pieces, the technology pieces, the TVs, we have those, the computers, those things we have, some of those spaces. But I think we're trying to update that room, certainly has an appeal to it. We want to kind of make with that appeal. But looking at this from a cost thing, right, I certainly think that it will bring more people in. It will give these students a more creative place to be able to work, to do those collaborations when they're in there working in different teams and working with different areas. So again, right now we are using the things that we have, but I think it's about trying to make it a more inviting space, a more productive space, a space that will bring more people in that we can work with them in those rooms.
Do we, I would love to entertain a proposal. So I guess the next step would be to see a proposal.
And that was the idea. Possibly we were going through our venues, but the idea is probably before next board meeting, next month's board meeting, the kids want to actually kind of put the proposal together for you. They'll do a little bit of shopping. They'll look at some different vendors and just some of the seating options, and then I don't know if I can drag them out to another one, or I'll be here, or someone will propose that. But the goal is to let them have that say in that, right? To let them look, and they've done a lot of that from the beginning of this. Obviously, they're making some big decisions and doing a lot now, so we just kind of want to have them in that process too.
I just want to say I'm blown away. Like, if you guys had been around, maybe I would not have retired. Because for us older guys who would be in the 60-year-old biking group that they talked about, technology is overwhelming to some of us. It just doesn't come easy. If I had access as a teacher to students that I could reach out to and call, you have no idea how amazing that is. What an amazing toll that is to make the lives of your teachers and fellow students better. So, and I also wanted to say, you said our lifted conference. I don't know, that made me, our. It was, you were a part of this conference that we did for educational people all around literally the state. And you're saying our conference. You were a part of that. You guys had a part of that. It was something you did. I just, that alone is powerful, powerful. So thank you all very much, and thank you, Mr. Shepler. Always great job. I just hope I know you two are seniors, but the rest I don't know if you guys are. But just make sure before you leave here you pass your skills on to the younger generation.
So we do have about 12 to 15 kids in the program right now. So just some of them with sports and soccer and things like that tonight couldn't all be here. But again, the thing is that they're going to have teams. They're going to work within those teams on those responsibilities, some crossovers. I always tell you guys this, the stuff that comes out of here, the stuff that comes out with me is all because of these kids and the stuff that they're doing. So this amplifies that, so, yep.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing it with us, and don't hesitate to come back for support, because I think what you're doing is amazing. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our tech team and to our mountain bike club. Thank you for exhibiting several of our Portrait of a Graduate skills. Being engaged citizens, being innovators, strong communicators, problem solvers, just an unbelievable job. So thank you so much for all you do to make our community very strong. And I'll probably use those trails more as a jogger than a bike rider, just because of So as we transition a little bit, I want to go over some personnel items and some agenda items moving forward as we look at our agenda for coming up here for September 9th for our board meeting. Under personnel, we have 2 resignations. Ashley Stiller from the position of recess and lunch aide, and Cammie Bishop, and we'd like to thank them both for their service at Susquenita School District. Under employment, we have Hannah Arnett from Mechanicsburg as elementary school teacher, and she's done an unbelievable job. All of our new teachers have really done a great job of really just coming on board, being welcoming to the students, and immersing themselves within our school culture, so we're extremely proud of them. Also happy to welcome back to the nest Matthew Wachewski as one of our custodians, and Matthew is extremely hard worker, and we're proud to have Matthew helping us out. We have a voluntary transfer, more of just, she's always been a full-time teacher, more just an administrative change. For paperwork purposes is Kylie Fidelts, is one of our new teachers here as well. Substitute professional staff, we'd like to thank Caitlin Bothwell for helping us out as a school nurse, and she'll be a welcome addition. So as many times as she can help us out, we would love to have her. Successful completion of a 90-day evaluation from Martina Zimmerman, paraprofessional. Martina does a great job, and we're extremely excited that she continues with us and working with our students and our teachers. Induction support teacher, Hannah Lengel, for Hannah Arnett, 4th grade. Elementary school, team lead, Hannah Lengel as well. She's done a great job of providing that oversight and leadership to that 4th grade team, and really being a mentor for all of the 4th grade at this time. Middle school, math counts advisor, Mrs. Gwendolyn Anderson, and yearbook advisor shared, Ashley Hoffman. And that rounds out personnel, leaves, and transfers, and employment at this time. Are there any questions? And that's to date. Moving forward with some agenda items. Agenda items at this time are a little bit slow right now, which is okay, but we will have some curriculum updates, perhaps some maps that we may have for approval as well. Some policies for first read. We're looking at several policies for first read, including policy 824 that we were successfully completed tonight at our policy meeting. That will be available for first read coming up on September 9th. We also will have some reports from all of us, board reports from our committees that we participate in, such as Cumberland Perry Area Career and Technical Center. Very little when it comes to HAC, but hopefully we'll have some information with the Harrisburg Area Community College, Pennsylvania School Boards Association, and the Capital Area Intermediate Unit. So we had asked certainly if any participation and membership of those committees that we could report out at that time. All right, that kind of rounds it out for September 9th at this particular point in the agenda as we currently are at right now. I'm going to turn it over, see if there's any curriculum updates.
Thanks, Dr. Fox. Just to mention to everybody, I know last month we spoke to you about some district goals that we had set with the board, and one of those being updates with curriculum. So next month you will find our first quarterly update that we will have for you to present, and some information will be forthcoming there. As Dr. Fox just said, our new educators, I just want to bring up the fact that we had an excellent start of the school year with everyone, but our new educators in particular have just been excelling at this point. And you know, you just mentioned one of our new hires. She was literally hired less than a week before school started, and trying to get rooms together and everything. They have just put you know, all the effort in there and have been doing a wonderful job. So I just want to mention that we're going to start our monthly meetings with those new educators, and that also includes our year 2 inductees, because if you remember a while ago, I presented an induction program per the state of Pennsylvania that now is a 2-year model. So our new educators from last year will be going through monthly support meetings as well. So we will start those this month, and then also have check-ins with our mentors as well. So we are also getting ready to, this month where I said, you know, it's not that we have downtime, but we had a heavy month last month for in-service and professional learning just to get ready for the start of the school year. But we will be meeting with our task force teams, and really we've separated that out by building just to make sure that we're working with our teaching staff to make sure that their voices are heard and involved in that professional learning process. So we are already getting ready for October 13th, which is our next full day of in-service. So we'll have more updates for you on that as well. And then we also have in October a 2-hour early dismissal, which, again, it's not that there's a ton of planning that goes into that, but we have ideas of things. It's towards the end of the marking period, and we know we have a lot of work, and the teachers have things that need to get completed as well. So 2 events coming up in October. And then again, you know, just to make sure we mention, we're continuing meeting with our task force teams, but also our curriculum council will meet again this month as well. So I will bring all those updates to you just in that first quarterly report as we promised last month to you. That's all I have for now.
Thank you very much. We're going to transition, but before I do, I'd like to also thank Mrs. Matash. You know, when we talk about the vision of different spaces and the revitalization of different spaces, she certainly has that vision, and she's done an incredible job of making that vision and partnering with our high school principal and our students to be able to take that vision and turn it into a space that connects with our curriculum. So thank you for all of your hard work on that. It's an incredible space that really is going to continue to allow those students that opportunity to develop and to teach and lead. And I'm excited to hear that as well. And I was just whispering to Mr. Browse that we probably going to need some help at the district administration building as well for certain things that that we could use some training and assistance on. So I think as they continue to develop, it's a great opportunity to branch out on our campus. So we're excited about the prospects and happy for the leadership of Mr. Shepler as well. He does an incredible job. All right, we're going to transition now into staff employee handbook. And as we get into the staff employee handbook, I'd like to thank Ms. Morgan Miller. Several years ago, Ms. Morgan Miller took on the position of Coordinator of Human Resources and did an incredible job and set a lot of the foundations, working with Mrs. Pinson, and then allowed Ms. O'Rourke to continue to take off with a lot of those processes and procedures. And one of the things that Ms. Miller started was this staff handbook. So she really did a nice job of providing an outline. And it was really a lot of our vision throughout the summer to take this, and I talked about it for a couple of years, kicked it around, and it was time to really get this draft document to the finish line. And I say finish line because it's never really finished. It's a lot like a student code of conduct. It's a lot like any faculty handbooks. There's always going to be tweaks and changes. Every year as we go, there's going to be different additions. Certainly as school policy changes, federal law changes, state law changes, there's going to be additions and amendments that are going to be needed throughout the staff handbook. But we needed something certainly at this point that's going to be able to be provided for the entirety of our support staff to be able to have and to reference, and for us really as an organization to be able to use for continuity. So we're going to go ahead and talk here for a second about the purpose, and really it's for that continuity and consistency, right? It sets forth expectations, allows for a resource guide for our support staff to be able to use. When we talk support staff, it consists of paraprofessionals, administrative assistants, custodians, maintenance, and all employees who are not under the collective bargaining agreement, Act 93, or any independent contractors. The staff manual, the old staff manual was dated, had some stuff that needed to be cleaned up. There was some redundancy in that document, and it certainly needed to be refreshed. So really the overview of this handbook, you'll see there's a table of contents located in here as well. There's board policies that are referenced, and it's broken into several sections, including overview, absences, working schedule, benefits. There's retirement references that reference PSERs in here and how to contact PSERs. And as we had said, this has been really a work in progress for many, many years. The next steps in this process, really we gave you about a 40-some page document tonight. I don't expect you to review it, nor am I going to read all of those 40 pages. We want to provide this to you. We want to see if there's any questions that you have. So take this kind of working document back. Would really look for board approval at the September meeting. If there's things on here that you're like, hey, we need to talk about more, then we can pause or take off by that particular point. And that's okay, as some things may need some clarification based on questions that you may have. But we would look for approval each year. And it's important that your approval be on this document, just like we do for the others. For our student code of conduct and our athletic co-curricular code of conduct as well. Questions on any of the processes? Again, I didn't go into a lot of the breadth and depth on this document. Certainly, there's a lot of cleanup that needed. There was some redundancy that happened throughout this document in some areas. And we know that, again, it is not perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect handbook or certainly a perfect document. There's always going to be questions that we have. There's always going to be something that pops up that we say, wait a minute, I think we needed to do A, B, and C. So I think that's going to be important that we continue to make notes on these and bring them back almost annually or biannually as we see something that needs to be reviewed and included. All right, we will transition now to our next topic, which is ESCO. I'm going to provide a little overview before we get into some details and some breakdowns here a little bit. So again, as we had shared throughout this process to you, multiple times, the energy savings contracting was established in Pennsylvania under the CS 3752 and later 3758, ensuring that procurement processes are followed, as well as the processes established under the Energy Savings Performance Contracting Act. The contracting provides the Commonwealth agencies as a way to achieve large-scale capital improvements with contracting qualified energy service companies, otherwise known as ESCOs, to perform guaranteed energy savings agreements. So I want to talk a little bit about our timeline again, and then our timeline into this process. So our timeline overall is we selected Pannoni through really a high-level study to assist with our feasibility study. So we accomplished our feasibility study probably about a year, maybe a year and a half ago. We provided that feasibility study, presented on that feasibility study that really identified several areas that we saw are a need for us as a district. Some of those areas were certainly rated in red, and there was also a price value associated with some of those items that gave us an opportunity to really look at what are some of the needs based upon that feasibility study. We then contracted with Pannoni for the second time to assist us with our advertising and proposal reviews and scoring. We created or revised a proposal and released and advertised that proposal. That proposal sat in accordance as well as advertised in the Duncannon Times on our website and sent out to anybody requesting information on those proposals. We held a site visit on June the 12th. That site visit was for anybody who was interested in putting together a proposal. We had additional questions that needed from any interested ESCO, that those questions had to be answered, and we replied by July the 3rd. In addition, we also had a June 30th mechanical room visit. So if anybody wanted a deeper dive into our mechanical room, they had an opportunity to come on June 30th. Proposals were due to the district by 1 o'clock on July 14th. We had our first, bless you, kind of scoring meeting that took place on July 17th at the district office. We had a team of 7. It's a multidisciplinary team, individuals involved in multiple different buildings, individuals involved in our business office, and individuals that are involved and understand the elements of school, as well as buildings and grounds. So we reviewed and we offered 2 additional site visits following this based upon needs, and a final revised proposal that we had sent out again on 8/4, asking for follow-up questions, asking that to be due back to us on 8/18. After meeting, we met again on August the 26th, and we'll go over some more of those timelines here in a little bit. Scope of work for the proposal. This scope of work should look very similar. We went over this before, but I think it's important as we go into some of these numbers and elements tonight. Was an HVAC replacement or recommission in the Susquenita Middle School. We still have some humidity issues we want to take care of. We wanted to have a recommissioning or replacement system that was about 90% efficient. Replacement of high school windows and doors. Flooring and fixture replacement to middle school and high school bathrooms. Middle school and elementary school hallway flooring. Middle school ceiling tile replacement. High school FS outside wall repair, recoating, repavement, and cutting and sealing the bottom 5 to 8 inches above ground surface. All of these should look familiar from our feasibility study. And middle school hallway and classroom lighting repair. Again, some of our process review, some of the things we did in this. We reviewed Our review process was assisted by our engineer from Pannoni Associates. We reviewed proposals using a scoring rubric and scoring point values that were found on the proposal. Our team created questions, and we wanted to follow up with the contractors about their questions. We actually brought in each prospective ESCO on July 29th to review their proposals and allow them the chance to ask questions for us to ask them questions. That was a really good interactive process. We also then engaged with additional consultants on HVAC pertaining to each proposal to get feedback from their proposals. And we had a second committee review meeting on August the 26th, 2025 to determine the best value and select the best contractor for our district. So I'd like to take some time and go over, first I'm going to pause and see if there's any questions on the process at this point. Now I'd like to take time to kind of go over handout 1, which is going to be a handout of our selected ESCO company. This was based on warranty, service, approach, consistency of the proposal, descriptions, technical capabilities, clear communication, and it led to the best value approach selection. So this company that we have is Quandel, and you're going to see the ESCO proposal selection in this handout that we'll go over here right now. It is not, I don't have a handout here or slide available right now, but some of the work and the scope of work we'll see for the HVAC middle school improvement under HVAC. The goal is humidity control, balanced temperature, and savings of propane. It's to clean and recommission the current units, replace automatic temperature control systems, the ATCs, replace the unit ventilators with new variable air volume units, and replace fans. The new fans will be variable speed fans, replace existing air handlers and recommission, remove the chiller water piping insulation and replace with fiberglass insulation, and replace the ATC system with new sensors and controllers for a net cost of $3,464,237. I'll pause at each one and see if there's questions on anything doing with the HVAC. One thing we wanted, and the question we had asked to all of our proposals was, is there ability to scale up? So let's say this proposal, is there ability to stack on if needed? Or would, if in fact there was something that after 15 years or so that needs replaced, would this be a complete overhaul or gut? And the answer is yes, there's the ability to scale up if needed. The next was high school window and door replacement. The window and door replacement, the scope would be the demolition, removal, and replacement of selecting existing hollow metal doors and frames, as well as aluminum storefront doors, windows, and framing systems. It would include the necessary hardware, access control integrations, and security enhancements. Would be windows on the first floor would contain a safety glass film that would be on the windows. $989,221 for full window replacement and door replacement at the high school. I'll pause and see if there's any questions.
First floor only?
First and all windows, except for the storefront in front of the high school, that orange section that leads up by the guidance. But all the other windows around, first and second floor and back, would be replaced.
So the storefront front is the second floor in guidance, where guidance is? Is that what we're calling the storefront?
Correct, the front of the building, yes. That,
Second floor front.
yes, the front of the when you walk in the front doors, that window going up,
Yeah, okay.
that will stay.
Okay.
Yep. But all the other windows would be replaced.
What did you mean by safety film?
Safety film would be, basically, it would be a tempered style glass that if it hit, it wouldn't shatter out.
Okay.
We have that safety film on some of our doors already, some of our exterior doors and some of our
But are
interior
they,
doors.
is it obstructive in terms of being able to see in or out, or is it a clear film?
We'll get clarification on that. That's a good
Okay.
question.
Yeah.
And maybe have the school resource officer weigh in on that. in
100%.
terms of-
The next would be high school FS repair, and to cut the bottom to keep water out, and sealed repairs made. The scope would include repair and modification of existing FS drive-in system to address improper ground contact, water intrusion, physical damage, finish restoration, remove a minimum of 6 inches from the ground, caulk and sealant work around the area, pressure washed, painted, a 1-year warranty on all repairs, and redirect the condensate lines away from the FS, because if you see, some of those weep holes or condensate lines are coming down to the bottom, and it's starting to really protrude up, and that's, the enemy of that system is water. And that comes in at a price tag of $586,203. Included in this scope of work as well is high school FS painted with architectural color schemes. So they would produce some color schemes to showcase to you as the board to be able to pick, to see how we can break down what the color schemes could look like on the high school. Kind of breaking down that brownish cream tan color across the board to see how we can use color different, make it pop, and make the building look refreshed and modernized. And that came out of some of our comments from students when we had our town hall meeting.
No, I was thinking the same thing, but as I look at that item and I look at several others, like they're gonna cut the FS off at the bottom 6 inches high and seal that. And then we're gonna paint the whole building. And so I'm more, as I look through some of these things, I guess we'll have a chance to discuss these
Absolutely.
further. Like some of these things are like, would be really nice to paint the whole building, and it would help the students, because I do think it looks institutional.
That's a good word to use.
But then again, we don't need to paint the whole building? Do we have enough money? So some of these things, in my mind, I'm looking, this is going to save us money. This will just be a nice thing to have, right?
This doesn't say painting the whole building, though. It says just to paint the FS.
Well, isn't the whole building covered in FS?
Correct.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the whole building would be
Got it.
painted.
Okay, okay.
So
Because
we
it
would
is
be
covered in
repainting the
drive-in.
entire high school.
That is correct.
Right, okay,
That is
whatever
correct.
color design we want.
Got it.
Correct.
So, yeah, and I'm not saying no to that, I'm just saying,
The paint's actually, it's actually a coating paint that actually does provide some waterproofing as well. So it's not just a latex style paint, it's a special paint utilized for FS, if I'm correct in saying that.
but for all of these, I'm sorry, Marcy, if we go through, like that's 586,203. If we decide we want to fix the FS and seal it at the ground, but maybe don't want to paint the whole thing, can we have those discussions later?
100%. One of the requests you had for the RFP was to not just have an overall cost, but you wanted to see these items by line item cost. And by seeing these line item costs broken down, you have the ability to scratch or the ability to go back and say, hey, we would like X or Y. You have the ability to do that. You know, at the end, I do want to state we did, in fact, take out that small loan. And we do have those proceeds to be able to use for certain projects. And how we use that is really going to be at your discretion and what you want to see in terms of making sure that we address some of those deferred maintenance. Yeah, no, you know, at the end, it really comes down to what is needed, what do we want, and then in the middle, how can we make certain things happen?
And I think the interior things that we were looking at with the theater arts program and all of that is not included.
That's not included in this. We're doing that
either.
separate. That's correct.
But I want to make sure, personally, I'm thinking out loud here, we have enough money to do that as well. But I'm also thinking if we're painting the building, maybe, I'm a penny pincher, so I'm thinking, well, maybe we only paint it like 8 feet low or whatever, so we leave half of it the institutional orange, the other half a different color. But anyway, it's, what?
Next color, institutional orange.
Yes, so, but the, okay, so anyway, whatever. It's orange, I think it's orange. Okay, so we can have those discussions later, so I just want to make sure. Thank you, Dr. Fox. You were saying something, I'm sorry.
I think my only thought is that, you know, the price of the painting is included in the $586,000, and whatever that line item is, then I would want to see what is it that we think, if we're not going to paint the building, which we know provides some protection to the EFIS, what is it that we think we're going to do with that money that we would potentially be saving by not doing something to protect the exterior of the building, which ultimately prolongs the life of the building. So I guess that's my thought process there.
No, and who knows? Maybe it's 300,000 of the 500,000 to paint, but we don't really know that. But you're right.
Sorry about that, I lost my spot there. High school restroom fixtures and floor replacement. That is to replace the floors with an epoxy, replace fixtures at the high school needed to replace the partitions. If you've been to the high school partitions, it was one of the asks of the students for several years, and we actually had an order in. The order was canceled due to some hardware not being shipped to us, but those partitions need to be replaced. Install hand dryers at $247,431. The same would be done for the middle school restroom fixtures and floor replacement as well. The reason the two are different is the amount of restrooms.
Again, so we're replacing every urinal, we're replacing every toilet? Like,
correct.
Is that just more cost efficient just to wipe it all out? Or, because their high school ones aren't that old, I mean,
They are,
26 years old.
a lot of them have been replaced several times. Several of the parts have been replaced. Some of the thermal mixing valves need to be addressed in there, need to be protected, some of the plumbing that's underneath. So yes, we believe it's in the best interest to replace all of the fixtures.
Are you putting in hand dryers and removing all paper towel
Correct.
things then?
Yes. Trying to look at saving cost over time, saving a lot of our custodial cost. That I don't know at this time.
I'm just saying, like easy, where you need paper towels every day.
Me too.
So there,
Motion sensor.
the doors are, they're zero entry in, so there's no touching. It's a zero touch entrance, which is some of the reasons. Plus also, these are good questions though. And there'll be a lot more questions as we move through, a lot more questions, and there's no such thing as a bad question at all. Middle school hallway flooring replacement, stairwell treads, and landing replacement for the 4 stairwells. This includes removal and replacement of the VCT tile and the stairwell landings. Walk-off mats there's an add-on in here if we choose to have a walk-off mat. I'm not sure if we necessarily need those because it's a single point of entry, which is to the main point of the high school, but they're included in there if that's a desire to add. Middle school classroom and hallway light replacement. It's to replace the hallway and classroom lighting and sensors in each classroom and hallways at $484,141. That's to replace them all. And to really take a look at the study of how many lights are needed, what's that illumination study that needs to occur throughout. Middle school ceiling tile and grid replacement. This is where some costs, because of the total amounts of square footing, you'll see it's $1,100,027. As you start accessing the ceiling tiles and the ceiling to put insulation in, work on some of the piping. If you've been to the middle school, certainly there's a multitude of different ceiling tile combinations and grid combinations that have happened over the years. So to get a clean, refreshed look and a modernized look, it's replacing the grid and replacing the ceiling tiles with all one standard format and cut appropriately for the different cutouts. The next would be was an addition to which is the middle school tile painting and color scheme match. which is $98,928. It includes painting the exterior tiles around the middle school to match the selected color scheme at the high school. One thing I think I've failed to mention as well is there is, on the next page, you'll see a little more detail than I've provided, which is the details scope of work, that you can have an opportunity to review a little bit more about what each of these areas project as well.
It says option 2. What does that mean?
So you'll see different things. Option 2, there was different options that were included in all proposals that we received, which allowed us the opportunity to go through and look at options and bring the best option to you. We believed option 2 encompassed the majority of different needs and the best, which we thought was the best value to come forward to serve the needs of what we identified through the feasibility study.
So number 1 matches to the first thing you gave, and it just expands further upon that. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And what does the alternates for consideration, what does that
Sure.
mean?
Alternates are always things that could be added. There are things that we had asked and questioned about, so we wanted to see what the cost of some of those alternates would be. They could be as simple as the walk-off mat replacements, painting the window lintels, as well as the canopies, painting the top of the FS building. These were just additions that the provider said these are what the cost could be if you wanted to add additional elements to it. Painting the storefront window and door at the high school, so that area we talked about that won't be touched, but if we wanted to have a different color scheme, that outside could be painted. That aluminum could be painted. Where it is now, it's like a burnt red-orange color. It could be painted a different color. And the other element was Armaflex. It's a different type of insulation, and it's kind of a little more cost to it if we chose to use Armaflex instead of fiberglass.
Was there any, since there's proposal to paint both the middle school and the high school, about the elementary school? Like, if you're having these color-coordinated 2 schools?
Sure, that's certainly something. I think when we look at the elementary school, it's a little more, there's no FS on that building, so it's pretty much block and brick. There's a few patterns of tiles that we could probably adjust, and different ways we could pop and add different things to make it look differently, but there's limited areas to paint, I think.
Even just a little bit might be able to just coordinate, make it look
Uniform.
the uniformity
Yep.
throughout the campus.
Yep.
Leanne, as you said that, I was just reflecting that one company, we had, one of their suggestions is that we tear down the elementary school and build another one, and we're not even making a single renovation to the elementary school after we hired an engineering firm to come in, and I just think that's kind of interesting.
That does bring a point, though. One of the things that did seem to come up a lot for the elementary school was the bus situation. What was the thought on that, or why that wasn't looked at on this?
So that's an area where I think we're going to need to independently review and do a study on. Yes, it's a growing need. I think taking a look at how we can redesign the flow of traffic for buses and cars, so there's a separation between the two. And I think that's something we can continue to look at and to study how that could be and what is a cost-effective approach, multitude of different approaches, and have you consider those approaches as to what might be the best for us as a district. But it is not included in any of this proposal.
And this proposal is also ESCO-based, so it's for the energy savings. So the majority of the work that's associated with this, where we're touching, results in some level of which will be repaired in the next 20 years. So the bus pull-out, while it's still it's a viable project to look at, it wasn't really put into this round of a conversation, let's put it that way.
I guess that is one, not a concern, but something I want us to consider. That was a very, very good point. But are there things in here that we may not want to do because, like painting the middle school is maybe not necessarily cost savings, or even painting the high school, which I think would be awesome. Maybe, if we don't have enough money to redo the busing and the entry to the elementary school, or if we don't have enough money to redo the auditorium, we have to look at how much money we have, look at what's recommended here versus other things we want to do, and prioritize, from that list. I just want to make sure that we definitely do that.
And one of the things we want to look at is what are predecessors and successors of this project. So there wouldn't be a point to go in and replace all the ceiling and lighting if you didn't replace the damaged insulation on the pipes in the middle school to start with, because you could go in and spend that $1 million, and in 6 months, if you have a leak or condensation drips on it, you've essentially wasted that effort. So there are certain steps that you want to bundle through the process.
Yeah.
Certainly there are others that could potentially come off, as it were, and others be added on as you look at that.
So as I'm just doing like a little, if we were to do, not the alternative stuff, but if we were to take that total plus what we've invested with CPCTC, are we sitting at like $6 million of that investment money that we borrowed left? What else did we spend? Oh, the bleachers and stuff were already spent out of that too.
So our contribution to Career and Technical Center was, let's just say for whole number purposes of so we took out a $15 million bank loan. We have $1.4 million for our Career and Technical Center. We have right now about $1.3 million of roof treatment that's undergoing right now. We have $400,000, I believe, was the bleacher repair replacement that occurred. So that's going to leave us approximately $12,700,000, I believe, in project funds. Is that fair to say?
Spent.
No, left, and then we would have this
Oh,
7
this.
plus out of there,
So
right?
we'd end up with like 4 million, maybe.
Correct.
So that would probably, I guess I'm thinking just ahead of, that would not be something that would touch what we would need to do in the elementary school if we were going to be reconfiguring, or especially if we took out a chunk to redo what the proposal was for the,
The high school?
Thank you, yes.
So I think we can do the high school. If you're asking my opinion, I think we can do this proposal. I think we can do the high school proposal as well. And I think we can also begin that process of looking at alternatives for traffic at the elementary school and see where we fall financially. It may have to be something that we look at as a long-term, one of our long-term maintenance plans, but I think we may be able to accomplish all of those things with the small bank loan and issuance that you took out.
Okay.
So how do we make that happen?
Well, I think the first thing we need to do in this instance is anytime we engage, the next step would be for us to enter into an agreement in September for what's called an investment grade audit. That is not an obligatory. It's an obligatory for them to take part in an investment grade audit. And then from there, we would get those results back. We would like you to engage with them, to have you an opportunity to meet with them. Our provider is not here this evening on purpose because we thought it would be best for us to talk about this process first together. And then from there, we will get the full scope of where we are at from the investment grade audit, get the full measurement of what we might have as a year one energy savings, and then what that would look like annually in terms of our bills. So I think that's our next step would be to do it's one of those go slow to go fast processes, in my opinion. So I think we need to separate two things. This would be the one that has a lot of different aspects to it. And we would look in September 9th to approve for an investment grade audit to be conducted. We would have to certainly take that through the processes, the contract, and review it. But if it passes through the review process, to have that approved to begin that next step in here. That is not an obligatory step. That does not mean you signed on to do all of this construction work. that means we're signing on to do that audit, which is the next step in this process. Then from there, the things become more bounding, if that's the word, after we would agree. We look at the numbers, see what the full scope is, then we would agree to that full scope or make changes as necessary. The second aspect we will do is we will get a proposal to you. I will present that in October. Ask you to consider looking at the assistance of Pannoni and RLPS to partner to take what those schematic designs were and take those into blueprint drawings. From those blueprint drawings, we would then look at having Pannoni act as our construction manager for the project, looking at them for permitting and assisting with permitting, timeline, helping us with what we would go out for advertisement, and that would be sealed bids for construction. So this might be a very, very, very busy place coming up here in the summer.
So if I understand correctly, you would like to have us put on the agenda an the approval of investment grade audit moving forward, is that correct?
That's correct.
Is anyone opposed to putting that on the agenda for next week? All right, let's do that.
Thank you very much. Please take this document, review it. There's a lot of details that are there, lots of information. We certainly can circle back and more information and make a listing of questions. I think that's best, just like we do for our budget. We'll get those questions answered. We'll get that reviewed. We'll make sure everything is just like that question on the security film. That's a good question. We'll have to circle back and get that full answer on that. At this time, one thing I do want to state before we make for public comment is we did come out of executive session to start the meeting to discuss legal matters. At this time, we can, if there's no further questions on anything at this point, we'll transition into public comment.
Nothing online?
Oh, okay.
Kelly Noss, Penn Township. My question pertains to the improvements done. One concern that you mentioned was the updating the fixtures in the bathrooms, going away from towels to the air dryers. My concern I wanted to mention is for any students that have touch or noise sensitivities, how that would impact them if you remove paper towels altogether. Because I know at least one or two students who refuse to use the air dryers because of the noise, because with the tiles it reverberates, and making sure that all students feel comfortable in any of the bathrooms.
You make a great point. We'll certainly have to take a look at the loudness of it, what that looks like, and having an alternative for some students available.
All right,
Yeah,
thank
you make a great point. Thank you.
And there are no online comments?
All right, hearing none, we will see everybody here next Tuesday. Thank you very much.